Assalamu alaikum. Today we will start with section 1.2 with the title Further Algebra. The objectives of this section are by the end of this section, you as a student will be able to simplify fractions by cancelling common factors, add, subtract, multiply and divide fractions, solve equations by doing the same thing to both sides, recognize the symbols less than, greater than, less than or equal, and greater than or equal. Solve linear inequalities. Today's lesson will be about fractions. So we have what we call a numerical fraction. A numerical fraction such as 7/8. We write the numerical fraction in this way. The number 7 on the top is called the numerator, and the number 8 on the bottom is called the denominator. This fraction actually is 7 divided by 8. 7 divided by 8, we can write it this way as a fraction. We call it a fraction. So 7 is the numerator. Any number on the top here is called the numerator, and the number at the bottom is called the denominator. Sometimes the numerator or the denominator or both involve letters or symbols. In this case, the fraction is called algebraic fractions. For example, 1 divided by x squared minus 2. See, the numerator is number. The denominator involves both numerical value minus 2 and x squared, letters. Okay? So this kind of fraction is called algebraic fraction. Another example here, you can see the numerator involves both numerical values and letters. The denominator involves letters. So this is also an algebraic fraction. Two fractions are said to be equivalent if they represent the same numerical value. So if two fractions have the same numerical value, we will say the two fractions are equivalent. So you can obtain an equivalent fraction by multiplying or dividing both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. For example, the fraction 3/4. This is a fraction. Its numerical value is 0.75. So if you use your calculator, you divide 3/4, you will get 0.75. Now, let's multiply both the numerator and denominator by the number 2. What we will get? If we multiply 3/2, we will get 6. If we multiply 4/2, we will get 8. Still, 6 divided by 8 is 0.75. If you use your calculator and divide 6 by 8 in your calculator, you'll get 0.75, which is the same value as if we divide 3/4. So both of these fractions, 3/4 and 6/8, both of them are equivalent. Why? Because both of them have the same numerical value, that is 7 or 0.75. So in this case, we will say 3/4 is the same as 6/8. Okay, so both of these fractions are the same. So if you want to obtain from a fraction another equivalent fraction, so you have to multiply both numerator and denominator by the same number, or in sometimes we can divide both the numerator and the denominator by the same number, we will get an equivalent fraction. As an example, let's say 16/24. If we divide both the numerator by 8 and the denominator also by 8, you will get 16 divided by 8 is 2, 24 divided by 8 is 3. So this means that these two fractions, 16/24 and 2/3, are equivalent. So we'll say these two fractions are equivalent. And this fraction, in fact, 2/3, is called the the fraction with the lowest terms. The fraction with the lowest terms. Examples. Reduce each of the following fractions to its lowest terms. Means simplify the fraction. Now 14 over 21. If we want to simplify it or reduce it to its lowest terms, means we have to divide the numerator by a number and the denominator by the same number. You have to multiply and divide by the same number, not by different numbers. So which number that we can divide by? Well, you have to look for the common factor. What is the common factor between 14 and 21? Well, the common factor is 7. The greatest common factor is 7. So if you divide 14 by 7 and you divide 21 by 7, you will get 2 by 3. So 14 by 21 is equivalent to 2 by 3. So 2 by 3 is the lowest terms or the fraction with the lowest terms of 14 by 21. If you ask me, how do you know that we have to divide by? If you ask me, how do you know that we have to divide by 7? Well, you can use this method, okay? I will show you. You can factorize, as we learned in the previous topic, you can factorize 14 to its prime numbers. So 14 is 7 multiplied by 2, and 21 is 7 multiplied by 3, okay? So if we divide the numerator by 7 and the denominator by 7, you will get 2 over 3. Or in another way, we can cancel 7 and 7. So you can cancel 7 and 7. Cancellation means you divide the numerator by 7 and the denominator by 7. This is the meaning of cancellation here. So you will get the 2 over 3. Okay? (48 by 60). Okay, let's see. What is the common number, the greatest common number? Well, you can follow the same steps as in example A by saying 48 can be decomposed in its prime numbers. Again, I repeat here, to get the prime numbers, what you can do is you can say 48, okay, you divide it by 2, you will get 24. You divide again by 2, you will get 12. You divide by 2, you will get 6. You divide by 2, you will get 3. And then you cannot divide by 2, you have to divide by 3 now, until you reach 1. And 60 will divide by 2, you will get 30. You divide by 2, you will get 15. You cannot divide by 2, divide by 3, you will get 5. And now you cannot divide by 2 or 3, you divide by 5. If somebody said, why don't you divide by 4? 4 is not a prime number, so we have to divide by prime number. So 48, see, this is the 48, multiplication of all these numbers, okay? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. So we have to write here. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. And then 60 is equivalent to 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Now you have to see the common terms between the numerator and denominator, and then you cancel them. So 2 will be cancelled with 2, another 2 will be cancelled with these 2, and the 3 will be cancelled with the 3. So the remaining will be 2 times 2, that is 4, and the denominator we have only 5. So this 4 over 5 is the lowest form of 48 by 60. So this is the way we reduce the fraction to its lowest terms, simplify it. So what was the common factor between the numerator and denominator? All these numbers which we canceled. 2 times 2 times 3. That is 12. 2 times 2 is 4 times 3 is 12. So the other method of solving it, you divide the numerator by 12 and you divide the denominator by 12, you will get the same answer. So you have two methods of doing this. Either you factorize each the numerator and denominator to its prime numbers, and then you cancel the common factors, or you divide by the greatest common factor if you know it. Okay, let's see these examples with algebraic fractions. Okay, 2 times x divided by 3 times x times y. Well, we see here x can be cancelled with x, so the common factor between the numerator and denominator is x. So as if we divide the numerator by x and the denominator by x, we will get 2 divided by 3y. So this is the simple form of the fraction. Another example, 3a divided by 6a plus 3b. Well, here, what is the common term between the numerator and denominator? Here we have to be very careful, because in the denominator, we don't have one term. We have two terms added together. See here, 6a plus 3b. You cannot cancel this a with this a, or this 3 with this 3. No. If you have two terms in the denominator added together or subtracted from each other, you have to see if there is a common term between them. So the right way to do that is, let's look for the common term between the denominator terms, okay? This is the numerator. Here, what is the common term between 6a and the 3b is 3. We learned this in the factorization in the previous topic. So the remaining here will be 2a plus b, right? This is the factorization of the denominator. Because if you multiply out this bracket, you will get back 6a plus 3b. Now, 3 and the bracket are multiplied by each other. And 3 and a are multiplied by each other. In this case, yes, we can cancel this 3 with this 3, and the remaining will be a over 2a plus b. And this is the way we reduce the fraction to its lowest term. So the fraction 3a divided by 6a plus 3b has this form of lowest terms, a divided by 2a plus 3a plus b. Another example here is x minus 2 divided by x minus 2 in a bracket multiplied by x plus 1 in bracket. In this case, well, we can add a bracket to the numerator like this. No harm of doing that. And then you can see this bracket as one term, this bracket as another term multiplied by another bracket. So in this case, we can cancel the whole bracket in the numerator with the whole bracket in the denominator. And the answer will be here 1 over x plus 1. I said cancellation means division. As you divide the numerator by this bracket, if you divide by itself, the answer will be 1. And if you divide the denominator by this bracket, you will cancel this bracket. The remaining will be x plus 1. And you don't have to write the bracket now for x plus 1. So this is the way we reduce the fraction to its lowest terms. Okay? Let's see these practice problems. Reduce each of the following fractions to its lowest terms. This numerical fraction, 9 by 15. So again, you can say 9 divided by 3, and 15 you divided by 3, because the common factor between 9 and 15 is 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3, 15 divided by 3 is 5. So this is the answer. 24 divided by 30. Again, what is the greatest common factor? Well, if you don't know it, then you decompose each to its prime numbers. Okay, 24, you can say it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. And 30 is 2 times 5 times 3. Okay, all these are prime numbers. And then you say the common factor is 2 from here, 2 from here, 3 from here, 3 from here. So the remaining will be in the numerator. 2 times 2 is 4, and in the denominator is 5. So the greatest common factor was 6. So the other method of solving it is if you divide the numerator by 6 and the denominator by 6, you will get the same number, 4 over 5. Now this, the algebraic fraction, it's straightforward. You can cancel x with x, and the remaining will be 1 over 2y. Again, cancellation means you divide by x, both in numerator and denominator. Here, well, you cannot cancel this with this x, okay, because there's a plus sign. So first you have to factorize the denominator. And we learned this factorization in the previous class. So the factorization of the denominator, what is the greatest common factor? Well, between 6 and 9, the common factor is 3. And x squared, they have a common factor x. And then now you open the bracket. The remaining, if you divide 6x by 3x, you will get 2, plus, if you divide 9x squared by 3x, 9 divided by 3 is 3, and x squared divided by x is x. Okay? To check your answer, you can multiply out this bracket. 3x multiplied by 2, you will get 6x. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. Now you can cancel 3 with 3 and x with x. The remaining up will be 1. So the final answer will be 1 over 2 plus 3x. Okay? Now the last example here is, well, you can see x will be cancelled with x. The whole term will be cancelled with this, the whole fraction, because all of these terms are multiplied by each other. So we will treat each fraction, each bracket as one number, as one term. So all the terms in the denominator are multiplied by each other. Likewise, all the terms in the numerator are multiplied by each other. So the answer will be 1 over x minus 4. So this is about multiplication of fractions rules. Okay. Now we will see how to multiply fractions. If you have 2 fractions or more than 2 fractions, we will learn how to multiply 2 fractions or more by each other. The rule is very simple. To multiply fractions, you multiply their corresponding numerators and denominators. So if you have 2 fractions like this, a divided by b is 1 fraction. The second fraction is c divided by d. So you just multiply the numerator of the first fraction by the numerator of the second fraction. So a multiplied by c, and multiply the denominator of the first fraction by the denominator of the second fraction, b times d. So the answer will be ac divided by bd. Okay? So multiplication of 2 fractions will give us 1 fraction. The division of fractions rule here is, if we have 2 fractions like this, a divided by b, this 1 fraction, and this the division sign, okay, divided by c over d. The first step is you have to convert the division sign to multiplication sign. So you write the first fraction as it is, a over b. This division sign will be converted to multiplication sign, and the second fraction should be inverted. Inverted means the denominator will be numerator and the numerator will be denominator. So in this case, after you convert to multiplication operation, then you follow the same rules as above. multiply A by D, you will get AD, and multiply B times C, you will get BC. This is for the division of fractions. Let's have some examples. We need to calculate this operation, 2 by 3 multiplied by 5 by 4. So what we will do is, as the rule says, we have to multiply 2 times 5, and then we divide by 3 by 4. So the outcome here, the result will be one fraction. So we multiply two fractions, the result will be only one fraction. And let's continue here. 2 times 5 is 10, and 3 times 4 is 12. Now, this is the answer, but we have to simplify it. How to simplify it? Let's see if there is a common term that can be cancelled between the numerator and denominator. Is there any common term? Yes, there is. Because we can divide 10 by 2, and we can divide 12 by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 12 by 2 is 6. So this is the final answer in its simplest form. Okay, so this is the solution here. Another example is 2 multiplied by 6 by 13. Well, somebody will say, oh, 2 is not a fraction. Well, we can write it as a fraction. How to write a number 2 as a fraction? If we divide by 1. So if this 2 we divide by 1, then we can write it as a fraction. And then the operation becomes similar to the question in part A. So 2 divided by 1 multiplied by 6 by 13. What you need to do is you multiply 2 times 6, 12, and 1 times 13 is 13. So the answer is 12 by 13. Is there any common factor between 12 and 13? No. Let's see, 6 by 7 divided by 4 by 21. Okay, this is a division operation. So first, the first step we do is we write the first fraction as it is, 6 by 7, and you convert the division sign to multiplication, and then the second fraction should be inverted. See, this is 4 was up, now it's down. 21 was down, now it's up. And the next step is you can multiply 6 multiplied by 21 divided by 7 multiplied by 4. But before you multiply these numbers by each other, you can simplify it now. Okay, how? You can factorize 6 and 21, you can factorize 7 and 4, and if there are some common terms that can be cancelled from the numerator and denominator. Instead of doing the multiplication and then the simplification, no, before you multiply, you simplify it. Because here, 2 will be cancelled with 2, 7 will be cancelled with 7. So the final answer will be 9 by 2, because you can cancel this 2 with 2, 7 with 7, and the remaining will be 3 times 3, that is 9 divided by 2. So this is the division operation and simplification. Okay, another question is half divided by 3. Again, this is 3, we can write it as 3 by 1. So 3, we can write it as 3 divided by 1. So the question becomes half divided by 3 by 1. Now we have to convert this operation to multiplication. So 1 by 2 we write it, and then the division becomes multiplication, and then we have to invert the second fraction. Always we have to invert the second fraction. So the second fraction becomes 1 over 3. And then you multiply the numerators. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 3 is 6. So the final answer will be 1 over 6. There are some practice problems here. And without using your calculator, you have to do this. Okay, so I leave these practice problems for you. If you did not understand, go back to the video and watch it again, and you follow the same steps here to answer these questions. Okay. The Next topic will be addition and subtraction of fraction rules, and I will record this in another video. Okay? Bye-bye.